Good morning, friends of the channel.
Hello.
Today, I've got lots of helpers. We need to redo this lovely sideboard for your son and his wife. So let's make it clear that your son isn't exactly a child. How old is he?
34.
But he's got a very magic house.
Yes, like everyone in the family.
This piece of furniture needs to go in front of a very special rug, which has some beautiful colours. And for this reason, in full agreement with the owners of the soon-to-be restyled furniture, we've decided to use two new magic paint colours. Curry Up, which is this lovely ochre, very deep, and Pure Sand, a warm shade that sits perfectly in the middle between clear sand and dark sand, so it doesn't have the greyish hint of dark sand. But it's not as ivory as clear sand either. I absolutely love it and it covers really well. But listen, do they want to see more ochre or more white?
I can't remember now.
Let's go and find out. We'll call them and get started. Let's start. I'll start by sanding, at least on the top surface. Why? Because this finish will be much more modern, not too modern, warm and contemporary. But this rug is very particular. It has red tones, ochre tones as well, black, unusual shades. It absolutely has to work with this piece of furniture. At the moment, I have a slightly waxed finish, but also very veined. Because here, many years ago, more than 20 years ago, a primer was applied to the base, then an enamel, and then it was also finished with wax. I need to remove this very rough and veined part. So I use the sander, but only on the top surface. For the rest, I'll do Eba. I have the 120 grit sandpaper, and I go. While I carry on sanding the top surface, which is coming out really well, Emma and Monica start washing. A batting on the whole piece of furniture. Emma, remind us how to do a batting, so we repeat it.
In a bucket of hot water, there'll be about 2 litres of water. I add a glass of ammonia and 4 or 5 tablespoons of baking soda. Obviously, I just eyeball it. It's not important if it's not precise.
Exactly.
A scouring sponge. I clean the whole surface thoroughly and then rinse with a cloth and clean water.
It's important to do this step to make sure the paint really sticks well. Obviously, to make sure magic paint adheres properly. And of course, we don't really know what finish has been applied, because over the years, they've even put wax on this piece of furniture. So using ABA to remove the wax is even more essential. Emma, while you wash, I'll carry on. Just take a look at the beautiful wood revealed underneath. I'm always rather hesitant before leaving a surface as bare wood. I want to strip it, I want to sand it, I want to see what shade comes out to decide if it suits my restyling. In this case, by removing the first layer of colour, by taking off the primer. A very light wood has come out, which will look good with my restyling, so I want to keep it as bare wood. Of course we'll protect it. I've gone over it with 120 grit sandpaper and removed both the old paint and the primer. Now, I use 320 grit fan paper to smooth it and make it really velvety. Remember, it's not just about how it feels to the touch, but also about closing the pores of the wood. This way, the wood will be better protected. It will still absorb the protective coating well, but it will be much more resistant. I'm going over the entire top surface. Since over the years because wallpaper has been put here and glued on with spray glue, now we're removing the residue. How? With wallpaper remover? What do I do? I apply a bit of wallpaper remover diluted with water onto the surface. It's better if you leave it horizontal, so it can really get to work and remove the residue. Afterwards, I use both a scraper and a sponge to help me. What do I do? I go over it and knock. I gently remove it without scraping the paint too deeply, getting rid of all the glue so I take away the little thickness, the residue. You can see the colour changes, and of course the glue comes off. I'll finally have a nice smooth surface, and I won't have those residues creating that thickness of a few millimetres anymore. Annoying when it comes to painting. This glue is very dry, but even so it comes off well. Certainly, the difference between the shade you see on this new piece of furniture, even pure sand, won't be that much because we're applying a light colour over another light colour. Light, but I want to show you how beautiful this colour is, how well it covers, how pure it is. In fact, it's called pure sand. I'm using the Elizabeth brush. I swirl it very well and load the brush reservoir thoroughly. And now I do this. Look, even with the first coat, what a gorgeous shade I have. Perfectly pure, elegant, covering and velvety. We immediately remove, even with the first coat, the yellow that's definitely there. Then we'll apply 2 coats. But look how beautiful this white shade is, covering and pure, absolutely gorgeous. If you haven't tried it yet, hurry up, because it's truly a revelation. And above all, it really does cover well. I apply it everywhere, as you can see. We've already put masking tape on the edges to avoid getting our drawer runners dirty, so it's lovely and precise. And we apply pure sand on the whole structure. How gorgeous is it? The new Ochre Curry Up is absolutely stunning. Now, have a look at the coverage. I'm about to apply it to the flat part of the drawer fronts. Obviously, I'll apply 2 coats to achieve an even deeper shade, but it really is spectacular. Just very beautiful. It warms up and gives so much character to any restyling. I apply it with the Tester Quadra brush. If I smudge, I keep a damp cloth nearby and do this. This way, I'll be very precise. Give this gorgeous piece of furniture a special touch with our exotic border transfer. Why? Because the rug in question has exactly the same patterns as this transfer. And how is that possible? Because even redesign is inspired by well-defined styles. We'll start with the drawer and the central door. My favourite of all the borders is this one. And my favourite of all the borders is this one. First though, let's make sure to absolutely optimise the length. So let's start by placing one in the centre here on the door, which is 51 centimetres long. Yes, 51. All right, measure for me from here. 51. Here. Perfect, right in the middle. Let's obviously get the strip ready on this door. It's been placed centrally on the door. We'll then put others on the sides to create the pattern. This one is left over, and of course we'll keep it. It could look good on some jars or on other things. We'll set it aside. For the little drawer, I'd like to try with this string, which I really like. How long is it? 32. Let's measure 32. Perfect! I cut up to here. This one goes here in the centre. Let's make ourselves more comfortable because we're not as tall as Clarissa. And let's start scratching. Let's remove the protective paper from the back. Emma, mark the halfway point, the centre, since today we're even using a tape measure. For us, that's a very rare thing, but we want to be precise. 26. So 13. Perfect. 13, more or less here. About here, right? You go from below, I'll go from above. We have to stay inside the edge. Feel free to lean on it. Voila. We also apply the first border to the drawers. Obviously, we will only put one, while on the doors we will put 3. One in the centre, then one on the right, and one on the left. Voila! Beautiful. Emma, can you show us the chove? Here it is. The first step is this, so deciding how to place the various bands. For the little doors, I would like one wider central one and 2 a little smaller ones on the sides and on the drawers. Probably just one will be enough. Should we carry on? Yes, but let's show home how we pair them and why, the stylistic choices. Let's prepare the base for our top surface. Why am I preparing it? because this time I don't want to use pure Marron Glacé. It would be too dark. So in this bowl, I'm putting a drop of Marron Glacé and a drop of Satin protective coating. This way, I'm going to dilute it. Obviously, I'm making it lighter, it'll be less intense, and I'm also going to add a little bit of water. Why water? Because that way the wood will absorb it better, it'll be slightly diluted, and of course it will stain a little less as I go. Right, I mix all the components together and using the king brush, I start applying it. Why do I use the king? Because it's nice, chunky, and holds a lot of protective coating. And this way I can stain properly without any trouble during application. And voila! As always, when working on tabletops or long pieces of furniture, it's best to start from the centre. So I stir it well, take the king brush by the ferrule, important, dab off just the sides, keep the product inside, and from the centre, I work my way out towards the edges. You can see that the colour of the wood changes subtly, becoming a little deeper, but not too much. Not too much walnut, not too dark. I smooth the surface well, because obviously you shouldn't see any brush marks. And look at what a lovely tone the wood has taken on, delicately amber. I always continue along the grain. Now I'll let this first coat of very light Marron Glacé dry thoroughly. And when it's dry, I'll try to see if I like it or if I can apply a second coat. Obviously, by applying a second coat, I'll make it a little more amber and darker. I'll decide in a bit. Let's apply a coat of matte protective coating over the whole structure. Why matte? Because I really like this almost neutral finish, as if it's not even there. And in my opinion, this colour looks even better. With this finish, both the curry up and the pure sand. I'm using the Elizabeth brush, the bigger one, because it'll definitely take me less time, since I have to do the sides and the whole structure as well. Then the matte protective is so easy to apply that I obviously have to pay even less attention. It's a protective coating that avoids any kind of flaw. I really recommend it. If you have any doubts, give it a try, because it's truly brilliant. And there you have it. I finish everything off, and of course I also go over the transfers with the matte protective coating. Always remember that transfers can only be covered with one coat of protective coating, so if you want to apply 2 coats of protective on this piece of furniture, that's absolutely fine. The important thing is that you only apply 1 coat over the transfers, also because 2 aren't needed where there's the drawer and the doors. But perhaps the skirting at the bottom, where you might knock it with the hoover or where you mop, might need 2 coats of protective coating. It depends on the amount of wear and tear you have at home. So please always remember, on the underside, if you like, you can even apply 2 coats. But on the transfers, just 1 coat of protective coating. Why is that? Because otherwise it'll come on stuck again. Let's carry on. A second coat of diluted Marron Glacé on the surface. This way it'll be even more amber coloured. As you can see, as it dries, it's lightened up. So please, always remember, don't worry about it. If at first it all seems too dark, it's because as it dries, obviously, the wood absorbs it and changes. We've got the 3 Hail Marys here.
There we are.
Look. Can you see it as sandboard? What do you think? I like it.
Me too.
The wood on top's nice.
Yes.
We've given it a quick sand, a second coat, and now it's looking really, really good. So what shall we do now? We'll take it to Monica's son's house and see how it finally looks in front of this lovely rug, which goes perfectly with our transfer. Until you see it in its final place, you won't understand the reason behind this restyling. So stay tuned, because you'll see it in a moment.
Let's go.
This restyling is finished as well, and we've come to the lad's house to show you where the inspiration came from, namely this rug, which has exactly the same shapes and patterns. On the piece of furniture too, We don't want to disturb too much, but I wanted to show you how well these tones go together, both with the floor and the rug, as well as with the other things they've chosen to furnish the house. Nearby, there are also some chairs that are the same colour as Curry Up, and an armchair too, along with other accessories. So in my opinion, it really is the perfect combination. Emilio wants to play, so let's not keep distracting him and being a nuisance. Let's head off. And we'll just remind you of two things. Firstly, where can you find Magic Paint?
On the website magicpaint.it, where you'll also find all the authorised retailers on a handy map in the search section. Just type in your city and you'll see all the retailers near you.
And Magic Paint isn't available on Amazon, is it? And
in the big DIY chains like Leroy Merlin.
Well done, Emma, for pointing that out, because more and more people are asking us where to find it. Where? On the www.magicpaint.it website. Goodbye.
Goodbye.